Hey guys, it's Galactic Fire Studios. It's been a little while since I've done a tutorial. Today I'm going to do a tutorial with replicated cached chaos playback. So if you want to do a little bit more sophisticated destruction um, on a network setting without it being in real time, this is probably what you're looking for. So without further ado, we'll get into it. We'll have to do some initial setup, and I'll try to go as quickly as possible. Um, but we're just going to destroy this fellow here, this Zeus. So I'm just messing around on one of the free maps that was released a couple months ago. Um, so we'll go from here. So I'm just going to make a quick fracture of Hammer geometry collection, and I'm just going to leave it in the folder that he came in. I'll just do a uniform destruction, and again, I'm not going to get into too much details about any of this type of stuff. Hopefully you already know what's going on here. So we fractured it. I'll do a little bit more. You see some big pieces there. I'd rather see him busting to many more pieces than what we initially had. So okay, so I think I'm happy with that. So we'll just go back to selection mode. And I'm going to see what happens to him if he's just going to fall apart on us. He probably will. Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a initialization, a field to keep him anchored. So you can find these fields in your editor settings if you have chaos enabled, which it should be for the most part in most everything. We're just going to anchor this fella here. So you're going to want to add the initialization field. You use the picker here. You can just choose it. So we'll see what happens there. Alrighty, he's staying in place. So, okay, so what we're going to do from here is, for one, I kind of want us to just see him normal, so we're going to turn the bone selection off. So we will, with him selected, we're going to go up to Actor, down to Chaos. Actually, there's been a bug of some sort, I believe. Just doing it this way causes a little bit of issues if you just go straight to Create Catch Manager. So first you want to turn your geometry collection into a blueprint. So with it selected, you can go up to here, and right next to add, we're going to convert this, and we'll just call it BP Zeus GC for geometry collection. And we don't want it to be in field nodes. We'll put it, we'll throw it into level prototyping. You can obviously put it wherever you need it to go. Okay, and okay, now so from here, we will go to Chaos and the Catch Manager. We'll make a Catch Manager of this, and we will just call this, and we'll put this in level prototyping too. and I like to do prefaces. So since this is going to be a chaos catch, or really it's yeah, a geometry collection chaos catch. So GCC, Zeus. Now this can hold more than one of these, so you can get better with your naming convention if it's not going to just be one. And that's what we'll have there. Okay, so we got these 2 blueprints going so far. We're in good shape. So now this is already going to be in our map somewhere. So you're going to go here. When you select it, you'll have some options here. So you can record, play, and static pose. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a simulation, and we're going to do a record, and we're going to record what's going on there. Now, again, there's some type of issues going on here. Not quite sure what it is. Where sometimes this does not work unless you turn this into a blueprint as well. And so I'm going to also turn this into a blueprint. And we'll just BP Chaos Catch Manager. Go from there. It's going to have that Rex head. And it's usually going to be originated in the 0 coordinates on the map. And I would leave it there. Otherwise, you can cause some issues if you move it around too much. So, looking good. We have these three blueprints, and we need to point to our Zeus blueprint, our Zeus JCC. Okay. Alrighty. So now, what we need to do is we're going to mess around with our field. So again, you can find these field nodes. It's going to be in your editor resources for the Chaos plugins. So what we need is we need something big that's going to damage this. So I'm going to bring this fella out here, and we're going to want to mess around with some of the settings. So you have some things going on here. I like to run it on tick. It seems to give us a little bit of better results, and we'll mess around a little bit with it as we go along. So I think we should be good there. There's really not much to it other than mess around with some of the settings to make sure we get a cool kind of explosion with it. But we will see as we go. We'll mess around with it. I do want to open up this blueprint and make sure that it is replicating. It does replicate, so we should be good to go. Alrighty, so what you're gonna, oh gosh, it looked a lot bigger from where it was. So let's move this over here. Probably going to hit it from this way. So alrighty, so we're going to use this as a bomb. So we're going to scale this bad boy up. Alrighty, and so all you're going to do is we are going to hit simulate, and we're going to run this through it. You can let this play as long as you need to get the good looking destruction. And as long as you're our Chaos Catch Manager was set to record, we should be able to just play it back now. And you see what happened there. So that's good. That's what we want. So right now it is set to timed, We do not want it to be timed, because that just means as soon as we hit simulate, it's going to start playing immediately. We don't want that. We want it to run off of a trigger. So we're going to turn that to triggered, and we also want it to stop simulating. Alrighty, and we don't need this anymore, so turn that off there. Alrighty, so we are going to need a few things. We're going to need a sequencer, and a sequencer, and we'll keep it all the same. Nope, sorry. Yeah, just a little brain fart there. So we need a level sequencer. We'll call this sequence Zeus destruction. And we will need a what's called a sequence manager, where it's going to manage our sequences. And this is just going to be a regular actor class. We'll call it sequence manager. Ready? Now open that up. And we also want this to replicate, and we want to add a sequence actor, and this is going to be a sequence level actor, and we can just leave it blank for now, and we want this to be instance editable. Alrighty, so we will throw both of these out there. And what we're going to want is, we don't want this to loop or autoplay, but we are, as you select the zoo sequencer, we're going to want to replicate the playback of this. Okay, so let's open up this bad boy here, and we are going to want to add our catch manager, and I spelled catch wrong there, but that's okay. We're going to want to add that to here, and what we're going to do is we are going to add an event trigger. Alrighty, so we'll add that there, and now at the beginning frame of this we have a trigger. So we're going to double click that here, and we're going to set this to multicast, and we are going to trigger all. So this is going to trigger, like I said, since we set this, we set our manager to play on triggered, so we want it to get triggered. So we have that set to triggered. So now we just need a way. How are we going to play the sequence? So good thing that we made this into a blueprint earlier, right? So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use some of our built-in functionality. So we are going to go down to, we're going to use, nope. made a small mistake here. We're going to need to reparent this class, and we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. And we're just going to add that geometry collection back. Now let's find our Zeus, and hopefully we're good there. Alright, we just needed the functionality that's an actor and not the geometry, and we'll still make sure this replicates. Alright, so on take any, not quite sure why we are having that issue here. We shouldn't be binding any events. That should just be, let's try to override. Alrighty, now we'll just override it then. So on any damage, we're going to give this a health variable. So structure health. Alrighty, so we'll give it a default value of 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is get this, and we're going to subtract the damage and we're going to, if it's less than or equal to 0, and we're only going to do this once because you don't want it to keep happening if you keep damaging it for some reason. We're going to get actor of class. We want our manager. We want that sequence actor variable that we made. Oh, I'm sorry. We want the sequence manager. My fault. And we want the sequence actor that we made. Now we want the sequence player. And it's going to auto fill that for us. And we want the play. Okay, we're going to save it real quick. Okay, and from here, typically line traces, for whatever reason, won't trigger this. So we're going to just make a quick projectile. So we'll just do an actor class, BP projectile. And we want a sphere collision. And let's throw a sphere in there, and let's make our sphere collision. Alright, so we will need to scale this probably by about, it can be a little bit bigger than that. Yeah, let's scale this up a little bit. Alright, okay, and this is just going to overlap all, and we don't want this to collide with anything. It doesn't really need collision. We are going to make sure that this replicates. Okay, and we need to add a projectile movement. And let's make this move at 6,000 units per second, and I don't want any gravity on it. Okay, this should be good to go. Okay, and our third person, let's get our right mouse, and let's make our usurper event. So add custom event, MC spawn projectile. Alright, and we're gonna multicast this. We're gonna spawn an actor from class. We do want the transform and BP projectile. Not sure why there's two of these here. Yeah, but I'll take it. That's okay. Where was that? Okay, back in third person character. Alrighty, and we want to make sure that we know that we're the owner of this, just for multiplayer purposes. If we want to know who did what, this needs to know what character and what player did this. And now let's add server spawn projectile. Alrighty. So from the server, we're going to make this reliable. We need to call the MC spawn projectile, and we will want that transform there. Okay. And the reason we want that is because we're going to make this just really simple. It's just going to fire from our eye, actor eye's point of view. We're going to make transform, and we're going to call server spawn projectile, and just plug that transform in there. Okay, and let's test this out. So we're going to go 2 players, and we're going to do listen server, and we're going to I might need to change our camera position. I am playing from I'm using the current camera location instead of player start. So let's say that we have some beef with Zeus. So we're over here praying to Athena, and she's going to give us the power to destroy Zeus. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like the way that turned out. Sorry. Okay, so we have our server here. Yep, and that played when I wasn't supposed to, so it did play on both of them, thankfully. And it may have gotten messed up when I had to change this, when I had to change what kind of actor it was. Yeah, let's add that initialization field back. There we go, that anchor. But honestly, that shouldn't have made a difference. Test this again real quick. And I suppose it did. Alrighty, so sorry, let's go back to 2 players again. Let's get us into a better spot for our camera. Okay. Oh, God. Okay, let's fire this bad boy off. It may be dying before it gets there, and I'm just not we're just not seeing it. So there's a couple things that happened when I had to break the reference, when we had to change the parent type of this here. So we'll need to go back to our cache manager, and this was likely blank. So if you had created that blueprint as an actor to begin with, you probably won't have to do this. But you'll need to update the soft references again. This was blank a couple minutes ago. And you'll just have to find the blueprint that has the geometry collection in it and set it to that. And also, right now our sequence manager isn't pointing to anything. So we need to, while in the scene, so we need to find our sequence manager. And we need to point it to our Zeus destruction. Alrighty, so then now from here, let's try that again. So I am just having a hard time with getting those stupid windows to attach the way that I want to today. Alright, so let's see what happens if we fire one of these bad boys up there. As you can see, so the line trace works, but it doesn't work on the client if you hit it with the line trace. I'm not quite sure why. Alright, so our overlaps are being finicky for some reason. So I just changed. You can mess around with the collision types. I just changed it so that it's going to block destructibles. And on component hit, we're going to apply that point damage. So let's try it here. Alright, so we have our two characters here. Fire that projectile, and there we go. Now that's that catched playback. So you can get some pretty sophisticated destruction going, and know that it's going to replicate and destroy in a predictable way. Every time. So there you go.